Auto123.com gathered up a foursome of sporty compacts in order to determine which one we like the most. Among the contenders, two come from Detroit, the Dodge Caliber SRT4 and the Chevrolet HHR SS. The Mazda Speed 3 comes from Japan, and finally, let's not forget the inevitable contestant from Germany, the Volkswagen GTI, who pretty much started the hot hatchback craze 25 years ago. All four cars are based on mainstream production vehicles. However, they boast their fair share of sportiness with aerodynamic add-ons and shiny alloys, and visually distinguish themselves on the street. We evaluated fit and finish, material quality, and, well, our personal taste. With regard to styling, the SRT4 is sort of the punk in the group. The menacing look gives it the highest score. With a prominent hood scoop and rear spoiler, not to mention massive air intakes and 19-inch alloy wheels, this Caliber proudly flexes its muscles and expresses a need for speed. The other American model, the HHR SS, is visually interesting but fails to get unanimous approval. One thing's for sure though, with a fiery red bodywork, this machine certainly turns a lot of heads, including those of police officers. The Mazda Speed 3 looks more refined, but its 5-year-old design is showing some signs of age. And while it remains attractive, there are not many distinctive cues compared to the regular Mazda 3 Sport. Build quality is almost flawless. The car that pioneered the hot hatch segment keeps standing out from the crowd. It may not have the largest wheels, the most exciting lines, or the most powerful engine, but the GTI is just as charming and commanding as always. The grille and wheels are particularly remarkable. In terms of design, the Caliber gets a nod based on a more assertive presence and unique look. Inside the cars, we've taken just about all aspects into consideration, including interior space and the general appearance of each one. We also measured cargo and storage space to find out which one has the best all-around cockpit. Inside, the Caliber's fit and finish is somewhat disappointing. Hard plastics and cracking noises are overly present, while the lack of soundproofing makes life less enjoyable for passengers. The front seats of the Mazda Speed 3 are impressively supportive and comfortable despite the limited adjustments possible. On the other hand, access to the rear seats is the worst of the bunch. The doors do not open wide enough and legroom is at a premium. Our test drivers like the support provided by the seats in the HHR SS, although they're not as perfect as those in the Mazda Speed and GTI. The dashboard is rather stern looking for a high-performance model, but the noise level at cruising speed is quite low. Finally, the rear hatch does not open high enough, and some of us occasionally banged our heads against it. The interior of the GTI benefits from premium materials and excellent ergonomics. There are some flaws obviously, like the cracking noises coming from the dashboard while driving. Also, the steering wheel proves too low to satisfy drivers of all body sizes. In terms of livability, the GTI receives top marks based on its simple functionality, ideal ergonomics, and overall comfort. The most important part of the test is obviously performance. All four cars have turbocharged 4-cylinder engines as well as suspension and braking upgrades. We evaluated the car's speed, handling, maneuverability, and braking to figure out which car offers the best dynamic driving experience. Motivated by a 2.4-liter turbocharged engine producing 285 horsepower and 265 pound-feet of torque, the SRT4 is easily the fastest car among this group, completing the quarter mile in 15.1 seconds at a speed of 151 kilometers an hour. Aside from straight-line acceleration, however, the SRT4's performance fails to measure up to rivals. The steering lacks precision and there's a significant on-center dead spot. Plus, the steering wheel is too big and not really suited for sporty driving. The engine of the HHR SS does not seem to have a strong power band, and the exhaust note is rather ordinary. Granted, none of these cars is particularly exciting to listen at higher RPMs. Torque steer is less radical than the Calibers, but present nonetheless. Handling is average due to the higher center of gravity and greater body roll. What's more, braking distances are the longest of all four cars. The more you push the Mazda Speed 3, the more it will impress you. The steering is ultra precise and perfectly balanced, while the brakes are the most powerful among the vehicles that we tested. While the automaker added various electronic control systems, torque steer remained significant and drivers had their hands full under hard acceleration. Straight line performance is good despite slowish takeoffs. The Mazda Speed 3 reaches 100 km an hour in 7.5 seconds, just like the Chevrolet, but the Japanese books the quarter mile in slightly less time. On the track, the Volkswagen lacks pure power compared to its rivals, although it launches with more authority, requiring 7.4 seconds to sprint from 0 to 100 km an hour, despite being 60 horsepower shy of the Mazda Speed 3 and HHR SS. On the road, the GTI operates like a well-oiled machine. Power is always available for passing maneuvers, and buyers can even select a twin-clutch automatic transmission. Handling, of course, is one of the strengths of this German hatchback. In terms of performance, the GTI is a clear-cut winner despite being less powerful than the three others. The steering and transmission are both extremely precise, which makes the car more rewarding and pleasant overall. The Mazda Speed barely missed the top step of the podium. We found it remarkably potent and easy to handle despite the annoying torque steer. The HHR, meanwhile, does not quite stand up to these two imports. It's slower upon accelerating and braking. Finally, the SRT4 might be the fastest, but it suffers from poor torque management and a disappointing steering in corners. It's great for drag racing, but not for spirited driving. The GTI takes home the crown, albeit by a small margin over the Mazda. It shows how experienced Volkswagen engineers and designers are when it comes to developing a well-mannered yet exciting high-performance hatchback. The sunset marks the end of a very long day that included numerous photo and video shoots and a lot of driving. But we're especially glad to have discovered that all these four machines offer a high level of performance and flash for an affordable price. We hope you enjoyed this video presentation of our comparison test. Check out the video section on auto123.com for other video reviews and special features.